There was something about the silence of Pine Hollow that never felt right. Not the peaceful kind of silence you'd expect from a remote Midwest town, but the kind that sat in your chest, to still, to quiet like the air was holding its breath. For something it knew was coming. It was mid-July, and the cornfields that surrounded the town had grown tall enough to swallow a grown man whole. The heat wave had broken the record books that summer, and the air shimmered in waves over cracked sidewalks and rusted fences. Every house looked like it was melting under the weight of the sun. 16-year-old Jamie Holloway leaned on the handlebars of his bike, staring down the winding road that led out of town, toward the Miller farm. He wiped sweat from his forehead and glanced at his best friend, Cody. "You're sure they saw something?" Jamie asked. Cody gave a half-shrug. "That's what Rebecca said. Lights, voices, screaming. But no one's seen the Millers in 2 days." Jamie looked out toward the horizon. "What if it's just the usual know how this place is?" "I don't think this is usual," Cody said. "Rebecca's not the kind to make stuff up." They pushed their bikes forward, gravel crunching beneath their tires as they passed familiar houses' edge, one shut up tight. Curtains drawn, doors bolted. Even the dogs weren't barking like they usually did. That's the thing about Pine Hollow. Bad news traveled fast. But people pretended they didn't hear it. The Miller farm sat on the edge of a long, dusty road, lined with brittle trees that seemed more like skeletons than anything alive. The house came into view, first weather-beaten, and hunched like it was trying to hide. The barn behind it loomed darker, older than its years. And the cornfield. It was still. Not a single stalk moved, even though the wind had picked up behind them. "Let's check the house," Jamie said. The front door was slightly open. That should have been the first sign to turn around. But they didn't. The air inside was thick. Not dusty, not musty, just wrong. The kind of wrong that wraps around your bones and whispers that you shouldn't be here. The kitchen table was set for 4, plates half full, drinks untouched. A fork lay on the floor, dried sauce stuck to its prongs. Jamie picked it up without thinking, and immediately dropped it. It was hot, like it had just come out of the dishwasher. But there was no sound, no water running, no movement. Cody stepped back. Maybe they just left. Jamie didn't answer. He had already moved into the hallway, toward the stairs. Each step creaked under his weight like it was protesting his presence. Bedroom door was ajar. The smell hit him first iron, and rot. Blood. The bed was made. The dresser neat. But there were red streaks across the walls, like someone had dragged a soaked rag across them in a hurry. No bodies. No signs of a struggle. Just the remnants of something violent, downed invisible. "Jamie," Cody called from downstairs. "Come. Look at this." Jamie ran down, heart pounding. Cody stood in front of the old grandfather clock in the living room. "It's ticking backward," he said. Sure enough, the second hand moved in reverse. Slowly but deliberately, before either of them could say another word. A shrill scream echoed from the back of the house, near the barn. They bolted outside, hearts hammering. The scream came again clearer. Now, a child's scream. Jamie turned to Cody. That sounded like Claire Miller. They ran toward the barn, kicking up dust. The doors stood wide open, revealing hay strewn across the floor. At the far end of the barn, something flickered like a candle flame struggling in the wind. It wasn't a candle, it was Claire. Or something that looked like her. She stood motionless, arms at her sides, eyes open too wide. And she was glowing, faintly, as if light was leaking out of her skin from the inside. "Claire," Jamie whispered. She didn't move. Didn't blink. Cody stepped forward. "Claire, it's us, Cody and Jamie. We're gonna get you help." Her mouth opened slowly. But the voice that came out wasn't hers. "You weren't supposed to see this. The barn slammed shut behind them, pitch black. Jamie grabbed his phone, turned on the flashlight butt. The beam flickered and died. They backed away, heartbeats thundering in their ears. Then the whispers began. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. From the walls, from the rafters, from inside their own heads. It's happening again. They always come back. Time is broken. Jamie squeezed his eyes shut. Make it stop. Make it stop. When he opened them, again they were outside, back in the cornfield, only it wasn't the same field anymore. The stalks were dry and gray. The sky above was bruised purple, and the air was cold. Cody stared at him, eyes wide. Where are we? Jamie turned around. The Miller farm was gone. Nothing but dead fields and empty land stretched for miles. And in the distance, single figure stood motionless in the field, watching them. Cody didn't speak. He just stared at the figure out in the distance, breath held like a trap, ready to snap. The figure didn't move either. Just stood there, long and lean, a dark silhouette against a purplish-red sky that looked far too still. There wasn't even wind, no bugs, no birds. The cornfields were dead, but more than that, they seemed silent. Jamie took a hesitant step forward. Maybe it's one of the Millers. Cody shot him a sharp glance. The Millers aren't here anymore. That was the truth neither of them wanted to say out loud. Something had changed, not just in the scenery, but in time, in reality. Wherever they were now, it wasn't Pine Hollow anymore. At least, not the one they knew. They turned back to where the road should have been, but there was only more field. Endless dry stalks, stretching into mist that hadn't been there before. And the figure, it was closer now. They didn't see it move, but it had cut the distance between them in half. It looked like a man, tall and thin, with limbs too long, and shoulders hunched like he carried a burden on his back. No face, just a smooth surface where eyes and a mouth should have been. "We need to move," Cody whispered. They didn't run, not yet. Something told them not to. Like sudden movement would give the thing permission to follow. Instead, they backed slowly into the brittle stalks, each one snapping like bone under their feet. Then a whisper behind them. "Don't turn around." Jamie froze. "Did you hear that?" Cody nodded. "Keep walking." Another voice softer, this time more insistent. "They see you. They remember you." Jamie's heart was pounding so hard it was painful. And then the air shifted. They emerged into a clearing that hadn't been there before. Perfect circle of flattened stalks. The dirt beneath blackened as if scorched. In the center stood an old swing set, rusted, out of place, and seated on one of the swings, her legs dragging through the dirt, was Rebecca. Jamie rushed forward. "Becca, are you okay?" She didn't look at him. Just kept swinging. Gently, her eyes blank, lips twitching, like she was trying to speak through someone else's mouth. "Rebecca," Cody tried, kneeling in front of her. Snap out of it, her eyes suddenly locked onto his. "Don't trust the clock." "What?" Her voice was deeper now, not hers. "You opened the house. You let it in again." Jamie stepped back. "What are you talking about? What did we let in?" Rebecca grinned. It wasn't a human grin. And then she started laughing, a slow, dry sound that didn't match her face. It cracked and repeated, like a broken recording, and the swing began to move on its own. Higher, faster, until Rebecca's feet no longer touched the ground. Then she stopped. Mid-dash swing. Frozen, suspended in midair, like time had paused. Jamie turned to Cody. "We have to get out of here." But when he looked back, Rebecca was gone. The swing still creaked back and forth, but there was nothing on it. And in her place, burned into the dirt, was a symbol, a circle, a line, a triangle, intersected with what looked like clock hands. Cody crouched beside it, What the hell is this? Jamie shook his head. I don't know, but we've seen it before. That's when the memories started bleeding in. Faint recollections of old stories told around the bonfire back in 8th grade. A place behind time. A town that lost its name. A ritual nobody finished. Pine Hollow had always had its myths. But what if they weren't myths? A low hum filled the air. Like power lines, singing. Jamie looked up and saw the sky twisting. Literally twisting, colors melting into each other like paint poured down a drain. We're not safe here, Cody said. We have to find someone. Anyone. They ran this time. They didn't care if the figure saw them. They tore through the corn, the stalks scratching their arms and tearing their shirts. The sound of the wind returned, suddenly sharp whistling, like it was chasing them. Then a town, but not their town. The streets looked the same, but older, like they'd stepped back 50 years. Pine Hollow's diner had turned into an apothecary. The gas station was a stable. The few people on the street wore clothes from another era. Long coats, dresses, straw hats. No one looked at them. Hello. Jamie called out. Can you hear me? They walked right past. They don't see us, Cody muttered. Jamie grabbed a woman's shoulder. She stopped hand, her head twisted all the way around, 180 degrees. Eyes glassy and wide. No clocks, she whispered. Not here. Then her body folded in on itself like paper, and she vanished into nothing. Cody was gasping now. This is a nightmare. We're dreaming. We have to wake up. Jamie didn't answer. He'd seen something else. Across the street, stood the Pine Hollow Library. Only it was burning. Not flames, not smoke, but burning with light. The kind of white-hot glow you can't look at directly. The entrance stood open, and from it came a pulsing sound like a heartbeat. Slow, measured. Cody took a step back. We are not going in there. Jamie was already moving. We don't have a choice. That clock symbol's in there. Sawed. They crossed the street as the air around them buzzed like bees inside their skulls. The library doors groaned open wider as they approached. Inside was nothing but bookshelves, twisting upward, endless. But no floor, no walls, just darkness. And stairs, spiraling, going down. Jamie turned to Cody. If this is where it started, maybe this is where it ends. They stepped onto the stairs, and immediately the temperature dropped. Breath visible. Ears ringing. Every step took them deeper. Into something that felt older than time. At the bottom, they found a room. Circular. Stone. The symbol etched into the ground glowed faintly. On the far wall was a mirror, and in that mirror stood Jamie. Only, not him. His reflection was older, paler, hollow-eyed, and it spoke before Jamie could. Once you know, you never unknow. Once you see, it never unsees you. Jamie backed away. The reflection smiled. Welcome back. Then the mirror shattered on. The lights went out. Jamie couldn't breathe. The glass from the mirror hadn't just broken it, had vanished, like it dissolved into the darkness, now pulsing all around them. Cody grabbed Jamie's arm, his fingers trembling. The stone chamber they were in had changed. The walls were no longer just stone, they were shifting, rippling with faces. Some they recognized, some they didn't, and one of them was Jamie's own. I think this is the place where they keep us, Cody whispered. Jamie couldn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the floor. The glowing clock symbol beneath their feet was ticking, piece by piece, like gears rotating within the ground. But it didn't tick forward. It ticked in reverse. Suddenly, the whispering returned. Not around them, inside them, memories not their own. Thoughts in voices they didn't recognize. Cody dropped to his knees, clutching his head. They're showing Buy things. Stuff that hasn't happened yet. Jamie kneeled beside him. What do you see? Cody's voice cracked. A funeral. Yours. In the field. Jamie froze. What? You were smiling, Cody said through tears. But your eyes were bleeding. The lights flickered again, and for a brief moment, the chamber disappeared. Then they were standing. In a classroom. Pine Hollow High School. Only. The posters on the wall were warped. The dates on the blackboard were wrong. October 4th, 1952. And all the desks were filled with students who didn't breathe, who didn't move. Their skin was cracked. Eyes completely white. At the front of the class stood a man in a black suit, his back turned. He wrote something on the chalkboard, even though no chalk was in his hand. Jamie stepped forward. Hello. The man turned slowly. His face was blank. No eyes, no mouth, no nose. Just skin. Still, somehow, Jamie heard him. You shouldn't be. Here, the classroom shuddered. The walls bent inward like rubber being pressed from the outside. And then they were back in the stone room only now. The ceiling had split open. Above them stretched the sky again. But it was wrong. Upside-down trees. Birds flying backward. Clouds rolling like they were being rewound. And in the sky dozens of those figures stood. All facing down, watching, double quotes. What is this place? Jamie. Shouted. Cody pointed to the far wall, where the stone had receded to reveal a staircase, one that didn't descend, but went straight into a void. No light, no edges, just blackness so dense it felt alive. Jamie's instincts screamed to turn around, but something pulled him toward it. Not curiosity, not even courage. It felt like the truth was down there, and it had been waiting for him. Are you seriously thinking about going in there? Cody asked, eyes wide. Jamie nodded. I think we already have. He took a step down. Then another. Cody followed. The staircase tightened the farther they went. The stone walls closed in like the throat of some great beast, swallowing them whole. The air got colder, heavier, until breathing felt like inhaling water, and then they were in a house, Jamie's house, or something that looked like it. The wallpaper was right. The pictures on the wall, his parents, him as a kid, but everything was off, like someone had rebuilt the place from memory but forgot how humans actually live. The lights flickered even though no switches had been flipped. The kitchen was empty. A single chair stood overturned, and a knife lay in the sink. Jamie, Cody said slowly, this isn't now. This is earlier. Jamie looked at the clock on the wall. It wasn't ticking, but the hands were moving. In reverse, time's broken, he whispered, like it's trying to undo something. Footsteps upstairs, heavy, slow. Jamie's stomach twisted. That wasn't his mom or dad. And yet, something inside him said go. They climbed the stairs, each one groaning under their weight. At the top, the hallway stretched longer than it ever had. At the end was a door, his bedroom door. And from behind it, he could hear humming, a lullaby. It was familiar, but not because his parents sang it. It was from a dream he'd had years ago, one he'd forgotten, one he had tried to forget. He opened the door. Inside sat a little boy. Himself, 6 years old. The boy turned around and smiled. I was waiting for you. Jamie's knees buckled. The child version of him stood and walked over. You left me here, but now it's your turn. Jamie stepped back, horrified. I don't understand. The boy raised a hand and the walls began to bleed. Not red, not blood, but time. The wallpaper peeled back in centuries. The furniture, aged and dissolved. Even Cody began to flicker, like a weak signal. You started it when you touched the house, the boy whispered. The Miller house. It needed someone to remember. "What did I do?" Jamie begged. "You opened the door. Now time eats itself. Now the town remembers everything, all at once." Cody stumbled into the hallway, gasping. "Jamie, we need to go now. That thing, it's here." From the end of the hallway, the black-suited man stood again. Closer, this time. And now he had a face. Jamie's face, older, dead. "You asked for the truth," the man said, and suddenly the walls melted. Away, they were standing in the Pine Hollow Cemetery, at night. Fresh dirt. Dozens of new graves. All with one name, Jamie Holloway. Again, and again, and again. Every gravestone had a different date, different cause, but the same name, same fate. Every time you try to fix it, the man said, you die. Somewhere, sometime, but always here. Jamie's breath caught in his throat. "I've done this before." "Yes," the man said, "and you'll do it again, until you understand." Cody tried to speak, but his voice broke. "Jamie, what does it want?" Jamie turned to the figure. "What do I have to do?" The man smiled. "You already did." The ground opened beneath them, and they fell. The sensation of falling was unlike anything Jamie had ever experienced. It wasn't just a physical descent, it was temporal, psychological. Like pieces of himself were peeling off as they plunged through layers of memory, time, and space. Faces flashed in front of his eyes, some he recognized, some he didn't. Cody's scream echoed nearby, but it was swallowed by the void and then silence. They landed hard on a cold surface. Not dirt, not stone, something slick. Metal, maybe. Jamie groaned, forcing his eyes open. He was in a hallway. Fluorescent lights buzzed above, flickering in and out. The walls were beige and grimy, covered in peeling posters that looked government-issued. A strange smell hung in the air, cleaning chemicals, mold, and something older, like dust that had never known sunlight. Cody lay a few feet away, curled up, dazed. "You okay?" Jamie asked. Cody nodded weakly. "Where are we now?" Jamie helped him to his feet, though he was shaking too. He moved down the corridor slowly, scanning each room. Most doors were locked. One had a shattered window, through which he saw what looked like waiting room chairs bolted to the floor. Water cooler tipped over, magazines from the 1970s. Cody peered over his shoulder. "This looks like a fallout shelter or something." At the far end of the hall, a red exit sign flickered above a heavy blast door. Jamie pushed it open. It led into an observation room. One wall was made entirely of glass, overlooking a vast chamber below. Dozens of monitors lined the opposite wall, flickering footage of Pine Hollow, but in different eras. The 1920s, the 1980s, the present even, the future. Jamie stared at one monitor showing the Miller house surrounded by military vehicles, men in hazmat suits. Another monitor showed the school burning. Another showed himself Folder, standing in the clock room, whispering something into the mirror. Cody stepped back. "What is this place?" "I think it's where they watch," Jamie said. "Where they record. Who, the thing we let in." The observation glass suddenly darkened and an alarm blared from somewhere deeper in the facility. Red lights pulsed along the ceiling. Then the speakers crackled to life. "Containment breach in Wing B. Repeat containment breach. Level 3, anomaly active." Cody looked around wildly. This is a facility, like a lab, or a prison. They ran through corridor after corridor, the walls shifting as if the place didn't want them to leave. Hallways curved where they shouldn't. Rooms repeated. And always, that alarm screamed behind them. Then they turned a corner and came face to face with a wall covered in names, etched into the metal. Thousands of names, Jamie Holloway, Rebecca Jensen, Cody Lane, Claire Miller, and dozens more. They recognized. They were all here, Jamie whispered. Cody leaned in. Look, dates. Look at the timestamps. Some names had multiple dates next to them, like they'd died more than once. Jamie's name was there. 12 times. Then the lights shut off. Total darkness. A faint light flickered down the hallway, approaching fast. Cody grabbed Jamie's arm. Don't look at it. But Jamie couldn't help it. From the shadows emerged a creature, tall, thin, the silhouette familiar, but now its form rippled, like it was made of water and smoke, where its face should have been. Jamie saw only a void, not a horrifying, something that erased even the memory of what should be there. It moved without sound, without walking, without warning. It lunged. Jamie and Cody fell backward, slamming through a rusted doorway and tumbling into another room. This one was circular, like the clock room but larger, and at its center, embedded in the floor, was a massive dial. Not just a clock, a control panel. Jamie stepped forward. Mesmerized, the dial had markings, dates, times, names, whole eras. You can control it from here, he whispered. Cody stared in horror. That's how the loops happen. Someone keeps turning it. Jamie looked at the center, where a metal lever protruded. I think if I pull that. No, Cody said. Jamie, what if that's what it wants? But Jamie wasn't sure he had a choice. His head was pounding. Voices filled his skull again. Reset. Correct. Undo. Begin again. He grabbed the lever. Cody screamed, and then nothing. Light, blinding. White light. Then Jamie stood on Main Street. The diner was normal. The sidewalks were clean. A gentle breeze moved through the air. Children played. Cars passed. The sky was blue. Jamie. He turned. It was Rebecca. Alive. Laughing. Carrying a milkshake. Walking with Claire and Cody. All three looked fine. Normal. Like nothing had ever happened. He stood frozen. Was it a dream? A trick? Had he fixed it? He walked up to them slowly. Hey, Claire turned to him and smiled. You look like you've seen a ghost. Jamie didn't answer, because something was wrong. There was a sound, faint and almost missed. Ticking in the background. He turned the town clock tower. It was moving backward, and then he saw it again. The figure far at the edge of town, near the fields, waiting. Watching. Jamie backed away slowly. Cody noticed. What is it? Jamie's voice was hollow. We didn't stop it. Rebecca frowned. Stop what? Jamie looked at his hands. They were shaking. His reflection in a shop window wavered, not matching his movements. He stared as his reflection smiled. Not yet, it mouthed. Jamie didn't sleep that night. Even after the bazaar returned to normalcy, after the sight of Claire and Rebecca alive and laughing, and the town seemingly reset to its familiar rhythms, he couldn't rest. The ticking hadn't stopped. Not in the tower, not in his mind. Every clock in his house ticked backward now. His own reflection in the mirror moved slightly out of sync. And worst of all, everyone else seemed unaware. He sat by the window long after midnight, staring at the cornfields swaying under moonlight. Pine Hollow looked calm again. But calm didn't mean safe. It meant coiled. Waiting. By morning, he'd made his decision. He had to find out who or what was controlling the resets. Cody was hesitant. You want to go back to the Miller house? Jamie nodded. If this is a loop, if time's repeating, then it always starts there. We missed something. Cody looked exhausted. What if that's the trap? What if going back starts it all over again? Jamie shrugged. Then maybe this time, we end it. They left town on their bikes again, cutting through the gravel roads, the air thick with summer heat. As they approached the property, Jamie noticed something that made his skin crawl. The fields surrounding the Miller house had grown far taller than they should have in one night. No breeze moved them. No sound escaped from within, just before the gate. Jamie skidded to a stop. "Do you remember how to get to the barn from the field?" Cody shook his head. "What do you mean, Jamie?" Swallowed. "Because I don't. And I used to ride my bike here every summer." They passed the rusted gate and approached the porch. The house looked older now, worn, like it hadn't been lived in for decades. Windows dark, door ajar. The air smelled faintly of dust and copper dot inside. Nothing had changed. Plates still on the table, fork on the floor, glass in the sink. But the walls this time, they were covered in writing. Dozens of names, dates, all repeating, each one crossed out violently. With black slashes, Jamie stepped forward. At the end of the list, his name. Cody leaned in. "There's something underneath the wallpaper." Jamie pulled at it carefully. The old paper tore away, revealing carvings, deep gouges in the wood. Symbol. The same one. Circle, line, triangle, clock hands. But now it was surrounded by smaller symbols, glyphs, foreign-looking writing that hurt his eyes if he stared too long. Cody whispered, "It's not just time. It's ritual. It's been fed." Jamie turned to him. "What if every time the clock resets, it's not an accident?" "You mean?" Jamie nodded. "What if it's feeding something?" Suddenly, the air grew colder. Cody shivered. "We're not alone." From upstairs, they heard the soft creak of a floorboard. Jamie grabbed the old fire poker from beside the hearth. Slowly, they crept up the stairs, the sound growing louder. But it wasn't footsteps. It was ticking, rapid, chaotic. The hallway was darker than it should have been. And at the end of it, the bedroom door, the same one Jamie had opened in the other version of the house, stood wide open. They approached slowly. Inside, a young girl sat in the middle of the floor. Claire, or the version of her that had glowed in the barn. She turned to face them, her eyes black voids. "You shouldn't be here," she said. Her voice doubled. "You broke the pattern." Jamie stepped forward. "What are you?" She blinked. "The memory of what you tried to forget." Cody whispered, "Are you real?" Claire's form rippled. "I'm what's left after the time loops eat your past. A ghost with no origin. A scream without a throat." Jamie's hands trembled. "What do you want?" Claire smiled. To finish it, the room pulsed. Light bent inward. Cody fell to his knees. Jamie staggered back as the floor beneath them peeled away, revealing something beneath the house. A chamber. Ancient. Buried beneath the foundation. Carved in the floor again. The same symbol. But now complete. In the center was a chair. And in the chair, older version of Jamie. Eyes shut. Hooks in his arms. Wires running into his skull. Jamie gasped. "No. No, what is this?" Claire stepped behind him. "The engine must be powered. Time doesn't rewind on its own. It requires sacrifice, consciousness, memory," Cody shouted. "Jamie, we need to go." But Jamie couldn't move. His older self opened his eyes. "You always come back. Because you always want to fix it." Jamie stumbled back. "You're not me." The man laughed bitterly. "You still don't get it? This town isn't caught in a time loop. You are." Jamie looked around. Faces stared back from the dark dozens of Jamies. Some injured, some lifeless. Some whispering things to themselves. All trapped in the gears of time. Like dolls left in a broken machine. Claire stepped forward again, her form unraveling into something older, ancient. "There must always be a Holloway in the chair. Your line. Your blood. The town needs memory to stay alive." Cody grabbed Jamie's arm. Come on. Jamie hesitated. His older self reached for him. You can stop the loop. Just take my place. Let the others go. Jamie froze. You'd be freeing them all. Claire, Rebecca, everyone. But I'd be trapped. His older self smiled. Yes, but they'd finally live. The chamber groaned around them, walls splitting, screams echoing. From somewhere above Jamie stepped closer to the chair. Cody tried to stop him. No, Jamie, no. There's another way. Jamie looked back, then found it, and sat down. The wires snaked forward like snakes, wrapping around his wrists and head. The moment they touched his skin, memory shattered fragments of past loops. Alternate versions of himself, pain and love and rage, all crashing in at once. Cody was screaming, and then everything turned white. The whiteness wasn't peaceful. It wasn't light. It was absence of time, of sound, of identity. Jamie floated inside it, or maybe he was the whiteness now. No beginning, no end. Just the worry of clocks ticking in and out of rhythm, then reversing, then stopping altogether. He couldn't tell how long he'd been there. Minutes, years. And then a voice. Familiar, calm. His own memory stabilizing. Anchor point acquired. Jamie's body reformed around the sound. Limbs, breath, weight. And when he opened his eyes, he was sitting in the chair. Again, but the chamber was different now. Empty, clean. No glyphs. No wires. No other versions of himself or the dead-eyed figures, just cold air, and that same glowing clock symbol beneath his feet. Across from him, Cody stood older, now taller, beard, unshaven, dressed in different clothes. He stared in shock. Jamie blinked. Cody, how long? Cody slowly stepped forward, voice trembling. You've been gone for 17 years. Jamie tried to stand, but his legs refused. The chair, what happened? Cody knelt in front of him. You took the loop, you bought us time. Pine Hollow came back mostly. People started waking. Up the town, started remembering. But the thing in the loop, it never left, it waited. Jamie felt sick. Then I didn't fix anything. No, Cody said. But you gave us a chance to fight it. Jamie finally forced himself upright, the stone cold beneath his feet. Where is everyone? Cody's expression darkened. Some made it. Some didn't. Claire vanished again. Rebecca, his voice cracked. She left town after the 10th loop snapped. Jamie's head spun. You remember the loops? Cody nodded. Some of us do. Those who stayed close to the center. The ones the time tried to keep. Jamie walked slowly across the chamber. The stone cracked beneath each step, fragile now. Why did you come back here? Cody hesitated. Then, because it's starting again. A sharp wind surged through the chamber, though there were no doors, no openings. And from the center of the glowing clock sigil, smoke began to rise, ginky black and thick. Shapes twisted inside it. Faces. Jamie's face, Cody's, Claire's, then a voice, low, rhythmic, familiar. The loop is life. The loop is truth. The loop is the price. Jamie clutched his head. It's inside me. Still, I can feel it turning. Then we stop it, Cody said, stepping beside him. This time, we don't complete the loop. Jamie looked at him. Then we end the town. Cody didn't flinch. We end the pattern. They made their way out of the chamber together. The Miller house had rotted entirely, now just a hollow frame of wood and stone. No field. No path. Only gray earth, cracked and dry as bone. But Pine Hollow still stood in the distance, or something like it. As they walked, everything shimmered like reality, was struggling to decide what time it wanted to be. Street signs changed languages. Houses turned from brick to wood to ruin to new construction and back again. Children laughed, cried, vanished. Shadows stretched unnaturally long. Cody pointed toward the center of town. The tower. Course. The clock. The place where all timelines bled into each other. They reached it at dusk or dawn. It was hard to tell. The sky rippled like water under thin glass. The tower door had been chained shut, but the metal fell apart at Jamie's touch. Inside, the stairwell spiraled higher than any human structure should. As they climbed, Jamie saw flickers between the steps. Moments. His mother, singing in the kitchen. Cody and him riding bikes. The barn door slamming. The mirror shattering. His own funeral. Again. Each image whispered, "Stay, go back." 6 at this time. But he didn't stop. At the top. A great brass mechanism, churned part machine, part organism. It moved like a heart, but ticked like a metronome. Massive gears turned backward. Blood leaked from some of them. And at its center, the symbol. But now it was cracked. Cody pulled a small glass vial from his coat, glowing softly. Jamie raised an eyebrow. "What is that?" Cody held it carefully. "Rebecca gave it to me. Said it's memory, pure memory. The last one left untouched." Jamie took it with shaking hands. "What happens if we break it?" Cody exhaled. "Then time has no anchor, no fallback. The loop can't repeat if it doesn't remember where to return." Jamie stared at the heart of the tower, and through the vial. It shattered against the symbol. Time screamed, literally screamed. The entire tower shook violently. The floor fell away. The sky outside turned red, then gold, then black. They fell again, not their bodies, but their selves. Down through loops and timelines and rewinds that now disintegrated, peeled away like burned film strips. Jamie saw Pine, hollow as it once was, then as it might have been, then as it had never been. Empty, desert, ocean, a crater, a fire, and finally, nothing. No town, no clocks, no house, no loops, just two boys standing on flat land under a quiet sky. No wind, no watchers. Cody turned slowly. "Is it over?" Jamie listened. No ticking. He smiled faintly. "I think so." They stood there a while longer, unsure of where they were or what year it might be. But the air felt clean, honest, whole. A small bird flew overhead. The first they'd seen in what felt like forever. Cody laughed, a genuine sound. "So, now what?" Jamie looked at the horizon. "We live, we move forward." They walked away from the empty space where a town once stood. No signs, no names, no ghosts, only silence. And that silence was finally safe.